Hey everybody, we are teaching Vermillion, and this particular episode is going to focus on the brushes themselves. Not the specific individuals, but the brushes overall, how they work and how you use a brush in this VR studio. Now, if you're right-handed or left-handed, you can put the brushes on the side that's appropriate. The system will respond accordingly. And to pick one up, it's just a matter of highlight a brush and grip. And that brush will now be in your hand. Now, if you want to change the way you're holding it, while you have a brush in hand, if you grip, you can see it gives you a little silhouette, cartoon version of your hand. However you let go, it's going to stick that way in relation to your hand. So it's quite literally changing your grip, changing the angle you're holding the brush. All the different brushes work this way. To exchange brushes, just highlight a different brush and grip, and it will put that brush into your hand. Each of these brushes give you a slightly different response from the paint. So play with them all to see how they vary. The white brushes tend to have a smoother stroke and tend to blend together a little more softly. The brown brushes tend to show the bristles a little more. You tend to see the brush strokes a little more as you paint. So if you want a smooth painting, you'll be using the white brushes more. If you really want to see the brush strokes in the creation, the bristle brushes give you a little more visual feedback. Now, brushes also respond to pressure. And in VR, we don't really have a way to feel that pressure. Now, this counts both for on the canvas and on the palette. Now, for feedback, if you have a haptic controller, ones that will vibrate and twitch, it will give you that little bit of pulse when you touch. It will also give you a visual cue in the headset when the brush touches either the palette or the canvas. Now, after that touch, if you keep pressing, that will act as pressure on the brush, and there should be a visual feedback in the icon on screen. So we're going to switch to the on-screen view and get some look at that pressure as well. Now, on the brush on the palette, a light touch will just pick up a little bit of paint. Extra pressure will get more paint on the brush. Painting, it's almost the opposite. A quick light stroke will layer down a thick blob of paint without blending it to the undercoat colors as much. If you apply a lot of pressure, that's where it's going to smear the paint out more, hide the brush strokes, and blend the colors a little more on the page. So you'll need to practice with this, play with it. Pressure, it'll trigger the moment there's a light touch, and press a little farther to get more pressure with the brush itself. This applies to all the other brushes. Some brushes react to pressure more than others. The fan brush, for example, if I just do a light quick, let's get some color on here, you can really see the brush strokes. Whereas if I go for more of a prolonged pressure, you can see how it darkens the color, makes it a thicker stroke, as opposed to just a quick line of color, quick faint openings in color. So the different brushes will respond to pressure, put down, to pressure on the canvas. The palette knife, as a special brush, we will get into it on its own, but it will respond to both pressure as well as whether you're using the tip or the side or even scraping to add or remove paint. So the brushes really do try to respond to what you're working with. Now, if you put down a brush when it still has paint on it, it will keep that paint. So if I put down the palette knife with blue and pick up a different brush and go at it with red and put it away, the red is still on the brush. So if I go back to my palette knife, it still has the blue, whereas the brush still has the red. So do be aware of that. If you're done with that color, make sure you clean the brush to get rid of that color when you put it away. clean the palette knife so it's no longer blue. The cleaning tool will indeed erase perfectly. It's got different sizes and shapes, so if I rotate my grip, I could use the little points of the rag to erase finer lines. Or I can use the side of the rag to wipe out large areas at once. So the cleaning rag itself will respond to your grip and the way you hold it. Again, we'll do much more in-depth on all of the brushes as their own episodes. But overall, the way you hold it and the pressure will affect the brushes in general. Now, the developer is actually working on brush responsiveness as well as looking at other brushes that could be added. So at this point in the game, we have these 10 brushes and cleaning rag to work with, and we'll see how they work and what other ones show up as we go. But they're all going to work the same. We can clean them either by a button or wiping it on the rag on top. The cleaning rag smaller one is for erasing on your picture. Brushes and the overall how they're going to get used in the Vermillion oil painting program. Make sure you clean your brushes, take care of your brushes, but it's nice that we don't have to worry about spilling turpentine everywhere. I hope this has been helpful. I hope this gives you an idea of the basics on how this is going to work. The actual painting is indeed just a natural motion, but the amount of pressure you want to apply is indeed taken into account. Let me know in the comments below if you have questions or suggestions for other episodes. Feel free to link in any artwork you've created as well. This has been Vermillion, the oil painting app in virtual reality. I hope this has been helpful. Have fun, everybody.